Awesome. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Tonight, it's our honor to have the beautiful and charming Amanda Hogan training us on one of the most important income-producing activities in our profession, how to host and run an Isagenix in-home presentation. Amanda is a native New Jersey girl, busy mom to two wonderful children, Austin 12 and Alexis 10. And as we were talking about today, Austin's an amazing golfer, and he's going to get even better soon. Amanda joined Isagenix and our team in 2010 and had an amazing product experience. No?
13.
Earlier?
13.
2013. Okay. And had an amazing product experience, dramatic increase in energy, mental clarity, released some weight, and added lean muscle. That lit her up, and she's never looked back. Once she incorporated a solid understanding of the income opportunity, Amanda's been a passionate and committed leader, sharing this gift with intention, achieving the rank of 2-star Golden Circle, 2-star Crystal Executive. And as if all this weren't enough to keep her busy, just a few years earlier, Amanda, along with a group of friends, neighbors, colleagues, and family, formed a bike team named Amanda's Angels to raise visibility and funds for the National MS Society. Their goal is to support research, education, and services for people affected by multiple sclerosis. Just a couple of weeks ago, to wonderful success, was their annual September City to Shore fundraiser, a 150-mile plus bike ride from Philadelphia to the New Jersey shore and back. But wait, there's even more to this amazing gal. Amanda is a proud triathlete, longtime member of the Mullica Hill Women's Tri Club, one of the largest all-women triathlon clubs in the country. We love you, girl, and we're so excited to have you train us tonight.
Oh, thanks, Mark. That was so awesome. Thank you for having me. And I'm very passionate about this topic. In-home presentations are one of my favorite things. And the reason why is because, so thank you for having me tonight to train on this. The reason why is because I think that, we're all behind the computer and we're typing messages and we're sending texts and we're doing emails, which is wonderful and great because we're connecting with people. But I'm a huge proponent for one-on-one. I think that people can just read your energy without you even saying anything. They can feel your passion. So for me, I think in-home presentations or launch parties or sipping samples, and there's so many different names. I think they are so key. Just because, on a side note, one thing that I learned coming into this company, which I really was kind of blown away by it when I first started, was I didn't realize how much people wanted to belong to something. And when you do the in-home presentations or the launch parties, people love that because they love to feel like they belong to something. And what better something to belong to than health and wellness group, So with that being said, thank you. I'm excited to present on this. There's so many different presentations. I went through a couple of different leaders and chose 2 different leaders, and I'm going to just kind of go through their presentations. And then really you kind of go with what resonates with you. And I did two different leaders because one really focuses on the products a lot and puts the opportunity in there. And the other one does the products, but really focuses on the opportunity. So I wanted to throw in 2 different ways to do it. So the one that I'm going to focus on first is, I'm looking over here to my notes, so excuse my eyes going back and forth, is Tanya Kirkpatrick and Trudy Maples' presentation that they did at Celebration. It was amazing. And they got up on stage and they put their whole layout out, and they put exactly what they said. So their dialogue is out there and just exactly how they present. They are, as most of us know, that they're millionaires. They probably do not have to do in-homes anymore. However, they do it because of the consistency. They really want their team to duplicate, and they feel that is the best way for duplication. And they do it. They still do them. and they do them the same way every single time. So, so they start out with they for I'm sorry, let me just look at this real fast. They start out with the exact same way every time. They welcome everyone at the door. So when people come, they give them a huge welcome. They give them, a hug and thank them for coming. They give them there's different name tags, and they have two different color name tags. They have one for associate and one for guest, so that they know at the end when there is a meeting that they know kind of who to focus on and who to kind of go to a little bit more because they might have some questions. And another big thing is they start on time every single time. They said that they want people to know that their time is valued and respected, so it's really important to start on time every time. Um, the other thing is they put an agenda up. So they have the value pack up front, and then they have the agenda right next to it, so that people know exactly what direction they're going to be going throughout the night while they're there. And the agenda is a whiteboard, and it just goes through the meeting. So they do a welcome. They have the history of the company. They play Transform Your Life video. I'm sorry, my dog is scratching. Real life stories, and they do the 4 pillars of health and the Eat for Free Club. So when they get started, they welcome everyone and they thank everyone for coming. And then they ask, how many agree that we naturally talk about things that we love? We talk about our hairstylists, our movies, restaurants, carpet cleaners. Tanya put in a little thing and said that she actually recommended $80,000 worth of carpet cleaning to a company one year. Kind of puts that in there, and she puts that in there and kind of just wants people to really kind of feel that and understand that people are just we talk just naturally, and that we really talk about what we love and what we're passionate about. And then she says, now how many people in the room think that we're living nutritionally deficient, and that we walk around and we see people struggling to get through their day, and they're drinking coffee and they're half asleep. And then she asked the room, how many people are preparing one meal a day? And then people raise their hand, and then they say, keep your hands up for 2 meals a day, and then 3 meals a day. So then she says, take a look around the room and see how many hands are up. And that tells us that our time is a value, of value. So money and value. So then she says, so tonight that she's going to talk about health freedom and opportunity sharing. Oh, sorry, my light just went out. Because with Isogenics, it's paired together. So when she asks those questions, the reason why she does that is because she wants everyone she's setting up the room for any objections that might come up. And she really wants to cast a vision so that people already are kind of open-minded and they're ready to receive. So she kind of just lets them she's asking these questions for a reason. Then she goes into the history of the company, and she speaks about, how they've been in business for 15 years, and how Jim and Kathy Kluber and Eric are they want to be the largest health and wellness company in the world. She speaks about John Anderson and that he's the mineral man, and just speaks very highly about the company. Then what they do is they play the Transform Your Life video, and they do this. They chose this video because they want people to be able to identify with real life. So if you guys have seen this with Angelina, she's walking through with her tired kids, and she's tired, and they go to school, and she lays on the couch. So it's something that people can really identify with. So then after they go through that, after they play the video, they go through their story. So they ask permission for Tanya to share her story, and for Trudy to share her story. And they go through how they were both skeptical, and that they kind of, did it just because they just tried it, and that now they have financial freedom. So they're nutritionally, of course, it changed their life, and now they went into the business aspect, and that was financially life changing as well. So then they go and they ask the people around the room, and they ask 4 to 5 people in the room to share their stories. Um, they remind everyone to be compliant, not to say anything about diagnosis or sickness or anything like that. And then what they're doing is they're just building belief with the people that are actually in the room that are not on, that are just guests. So they just want to build belief for people just because they feel like people will be able to identify with at least someone that's speaking. Then they go into the four pillars of health, and one of my favorite little tools to use is the Isogenics Fast Facts, and it's a great guide because the Fast Facts kind of just gives a little breakdown of the products. Um, they start off describing a table that has 4 legs, and they say, if you look at a table and the table is missing one leg, it doesn't look very pretty. It's pretty unstable. So that's when they go into the isoline shakes and they describe that. And then they actually ask, they just say that everything that we breathe in, touch, and that surrounds us becomes part of us. And then that leads into the cleanse aspect. And that they just say that the cleansing is pressing pause in our body because it's intermittent fasting. Then they describe the cleanse, and they describe the different ways to cleanse. Then they go into the Ionic Supreme, and they say, they ask how many people have stress in their life, and then they speak about that. And actually, Tanya paints a beautiful picture about Ionics, and she just says, can you imagine this plant that's sitting up on a mountain, and this plant is enduring all the different weather changes and all the things that's coming at it, and the plant still is alive and surviving. And she says that's what it adapts to the surroundings. And that's exactly what the adaptogens do. And that's when we ingest them, that's what happens to our bodies. So, and that's why it's so good for stress. So she speaks about the Ionics, which that's my favorite. And then she goes into the men's vitamins, and just how they're life changing, if they're an integral part of our health. And they actually gave a really good tip, which I didn't know, so I wanted to share this with you guys. They said that the vitamins, if someone is having a hard time swallowing all the vitamins, which I've actually had a couple people say, they said that they dissolve in 10 minutes. So if they just want to put them in water and have them dissolve and then drink them. So that was a little tip that I never heard, and I was like, oh, that's a great one just to share with you guys. So they go through all that, and then they don't want to get too technical because they really their 3 things. They want to know what it is, how much it is, how to get better. So they did mention always for a tip that when other people are talking, always pay attention. Never, pick up your phone and start texting, or have, when the video is playing, to really focus and watch that video like you've never watched it before, which is really important. Then they go into, then they share about healthy mind and body, which I was surprised about. And they just say, how it actually helps and creates a healthier path for our health, just for our journey, that when we start, that this is provided by the company, and it's a great tool for us to use, which I love that. I never thought to actually put that into my presentation. Then they also introduced the IsoBody Challenge, and that it's really great because that's another thing that helps us follow our progress and helps us, go through the journey nicely. And they speak about the specifics with that as well. Then she asks her question, and this is getting into opportunity, and she says, how many of you would like to join an Eat for Free club? And she said, you can eat free groceries in 2018. If you can eat free groceries in 2018, over 50% products that we eat and love are ordered online and shipped right to our door. Isogenics is way ahead of the curve, and here's a quick video to show how we are part of the Eat for Free club. And then she shares the you share, they share, repeat video. I love that. I think that's a great way to just kind of incorporate that. And then after you get started and people ask you what you are doing and why you look so good, just know that you are able to be rewarded by the company for that. So that's how she brings the opportunity in there. After they're done with that, then they go and she says, we're going to do a sampling now. That we're going to have some shakes and bars, and that's going to be in the kitchen. She does mention that there's a money back guarantee, so there's nothing to lose to get started, um, and that so then obviously everyone that has when they go into the kitchen and everybody has other tags on, they kind of, or the guest tags, they really focus on them a little bit more. So she stresses that people just they don't know what they don't know. So really you have to educate and you have to put it out there. So I'm going to put this presentation, when Mark puts the link of this Zoom call up, I will put this presentation in the bottom. So if you want to take a look at it, you can certainly watch it. I highly recommend it. I took a lot out of it. I thought it was really helpful. And they do give some nice tips. So that was Tanya Kirkpatrick and Trudy Maple's presentation. Now I'm going to talk about Hillary and Justin Courtney's presentation. So she's a little more, yes, about the products, but she's really hardcore she's a finance background, and she's really hardcore about the business. I think Mark is excited about that. So she kind of is just, there's no two ways about it. She says everybody needs to know about this business because that's just how it is. When I first started, that was not me. I was kind of like, no, we don't have to mention the business. But now, I think things are a little different. So she does start off, she said, obviously you set up a value pack, always try and push the value pack. That's the best value for our money. So just to set that up. She has the host, if she's actually the one that's doing it. I can post my notes. Yes, Kathleen. I'll share all these. So she has the host share, welcome everyone, and then she has and share why they are passionate and why they started Isogenics or why they wanted to start sharing Isogenics. Then she does the same thing. She plays a transform your life video as well. Then she has the host introduce Hillary or whichever leader is there, and they go through the 4 pillars. Again, she does the same analogy as the table with 4 legs. She goes through the shakes, ionics, cleanse, and vitamins. And then she does go into some sticky products, though. She believes that the sticky products are really important. Personally, I do too. I think the e-shots are a must for most people because everyone is tired. So the bars are another great one. So she throws in some information about the sticky products as well as the 4 pillars. Then she asks, this is when she gets into her business, then she asks, what would you spend on an average meal? And then she has everybody just kind of shout out answers, and she rounds it to the nearest math. So she said, she picked $10 a meal. Then she draws on the whiteboard a value pack and then she says this replaces 80 meals for the month. And the value pack is $5.59. And at $10 a meal, you're spending $800 a month. So technically, you're saving $240 and getting free vitamins per month. So she reverses the order of what they're spending and what they answered to what they're saving and what they're actually getting back and more. So with the vitamins. Then she draws out the you share, they share, repeat, and with the 2 value packs. And she shows that you are not paying for a value pack and you're actually getting money back when you share it with 2 people. She did say she shared with her mom and her husband right away. For me, it was my mom and my brother right away. So, then she goes further into the compensation plan. So she doesn't even just stop there. She goes further. So obviously, if you can imagine her doing this, her passion is like, building, and people were probably sitting there watching this and with her passion building. So she goes further into the compensation plan and she says, if she doesn't share it, it's a disservice to people because, it's big. And she goes 13 levels down for sharing. And she brings, so I'm going to show this to you. I didn't realize that when I do show this, it's actually going to be backwards. But she brings it down and she does the 2, the 4, the 8, 16, and she brings it all the way down to 13 levels. It's someone's going to take shakes and they're getting this. Um, so she brings it all the way down to 13 levels. And then she says, you know, if everyone just shared with two people and then two people and two people, your organization would grow and you would have over 8,000 people in your organization. And she said, and with that being said, and people ordering 100 BV per order with all these people, that would equate to around $600,000 a year for that, for you. And then she says, now, if there's a 90% failure rate with that, 90%, she said it would be $60,000 for you per year, for the year. And she said, what would that do for your life? Would that enhance would that make a difference in your life? She asked. So in my mind, as she's saying this, so she's saying people came for a shake and they're walking away with way more and their jaw to the floor and thinking, whoa, there's way more to this. So she really is, she said, look, the products work. It's not a trial. She said, so she feels that she needs to share the business because they don't know about that. So that's her big thing. That presentation, she does do this presentation. This was on ISA Warriors last week, but she does do a presentation from ICU, and I watched that a few times. That was really good and pretty powerful. So I'll post that in the link and in the comments as well. I highly suggest that. So that was her take. So she focused a little bit more on the business. So it was kind of two different things, and you really have to do something that resonates with you. So that was the two ones. They were the two that I wanted to go over. And I just wanted to mention that our company is doing a sip and sample promo right now, and it's through through corporate. So they're asking if when you book a party, you can enter for a chance for corporate to crash your party or to send you samples and stuff. And all the information is in ISA FYI, and you can just search the seasonal sip and sample for that. So I think I covered everything. And, if anybody has questions, I do want to mention, Laura and I do our launch parties together. And another one that we really like is the Dak and Eden's presentation. So I didn't put that up, but that's another really good one. If you guys want that, well, I can certainly share that with you. But that's another one that we used to really share all the time too. So I hope that was of value, and thank you so much. And please, if anybody has questions, I think we have a couple minutes before ISA Warriors.
That was great, Amanda.
Thank you.
That was really great. Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
So as someone who has done a lot of in-home lunch parties, how would you feel about adding the compensation component? It's interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting, and it's funny because in the beginning, that was not for my first. I mean, I had a lot of people here, and there was not even a chance that I wanted the business to be discussed. But now that I really think about it, there's so many people that are suffering that we don't know about, and I think that people can either discard what is said, or they can actually a seed could be planted, or somebody can just say, you know what, I'm going full force. So I think that, like everyone says, I think it does take some time. I do think for people to overcome like the whole business and think, oh, I'm selling to my friends or I'm making money off my friends, and that's not the case. So I think it does come with time. However, I think that people are way more open to this because I think that it's getting to be more accepted. So personally, yes, I think opportunities should be presented. If you asked me 4 years ago, I would have said no.
No way, Jose, right? Well, and it's true. Watching Hillary and Justin in that presentation last week, she gets so passionate and so fired up. And when you look at those numbers and you realize it really essentially, right? We've seen Jimmy do his numbers presentation. It's a version of that.
Mm-hmm. That's where she got it from.
2 to the 13th. All you need are 2 people. and help them find their two and help them find their two. 90% failure, and it's still $60,000 residual.
Right.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. I mean, that's some people's salaries, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that it's interesting. I'm starting to see it more and more, but we were recently at a meeting, and it was a 3-day seminar. It was actually an MMI seminar. And we felt that the guy leading it was really he was a little bit heavy-handed in trying to get people to progress and sign up for the next package. But we realized that it's so important to not be strident, but just be passionate, enthusiastic about what this actually can deliver.
Yeah.
With only 2 people.
Right.
Right? So, darling, that was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for all that information. Thank you for all of your hard work and putting it together for us tonight.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
And I will get the link up first thing tomorrow morning. Okay, so it's there. And then I guess it was Kathleen asked for notes. That's lovely of you to provide that.
Sure.
Anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I am going to end the recording and end the meeting. All set? Good night, darling. Big hug.
Bye, guys.
Great job.
Bye. Have a great night.